Hi, everyone, and welcome to We Are Crotchety Old Man,
And a woman.
the podcast for you, with you, and sometimes even about you. It is the day before Easter. How you doing, Abigail?
I'm doing just fine, Arden.
So tonight we are going to have a pretty special show. We're going to be mostly talking about a lot of Easter, and basically a lot of Holy Week, some facts, some interesting information that I didn't even know up until I did a lot of research on this. And I did try to go to Sunday school for a long time, and I have watched every movie I can find about this time of year. And it's pretty fascinating to me. So, wanted to go over the very basics. The first thing was today is National Turkey Neck Soup Day. Have you ever had turkey neck soup?
No,
Neither have I. Have you ever eaten turkey neck?
no.
So, the only time I have turkey neck is when my mother, for Thanksgiving, she boils the turkey neck. She actually boils it
Hmm.
and she pulls it. It's actually dark meat. You probably would like it. And she uses it in her gravy, along with the turkey heart and the kidneys.
I better pay close attention at Thanksgiving. That's all I can
So
say.
the long skinny piece is actually dark meat, but it's pretty good. So if you've ever had turkey neck, yeah, I don't know how to cook it. It's just my mom just boils it. So that's what today is. Obviously, we're not going to be taste testing turkey necks today because that would be disgusting. But it's also for. But I did have a lot of information for this day in history, and there's a lot of things. So I came up with my own personal top five, if that's okay.
Of course it's okay, Arden. What do you have to say?
So the first one was called Steward's Folly. Do you know who Steward was?
No.
So Steward was the Secretary of State that was part of purchasing Alaska from the Russians. So that happened. They purchased all of Alaska for $7 million at 2 cents an acre. And the Secretary of State was William Stewart was bashed. They were like, "Why did you spend this money? It's an igloo up there. It's horrible. There's nothing there." And the Russians pretty much were laughing. They're thinking that they got the best of it. And that was until 1898 when gold was discovered. And since then, we've got oil, we've got diamonds, we got so much natural resources from Alaska. I don't think the Russians were happy with that trade now.
I doubt it, Arden.
So that was today. Now, this one was interesting. In 1951, the Rosenbergs were convicted. They were spies. They were the last people that were executed as spies in the United States.
Even I knew that one, Arden.
Well, it's still fascinating. But this is probably for my brother and a lot of foo-foo drinkers of coffee. Today was the opening of the very first Starbucks in 1971.
And if you bought stock in that, you'd be a very wealthy person.
Yeah, which is amazing because the very next one, in 2 years later, the U.S. withdraws from Vietnam.
Huh.
So who knew? Like, I actually did not know that the Vietnam War actually ended before, like, and Starbucks was already 2 years old. Like that was, I don't know why. I thought it was more new.
You said Starbucks was in 1971,
1971.
the year of my birth.
Nice. Happy birthday, which will be very soon. We'll get to that a couple of weeks from now. And finally, in 1981, Ronald Reagan was shot in an assassination plot. And I remember walking to school. Well, I probably was running because I was always late for school back then. And I was late. And I remember the crossing guard before I got to the school was very upset. And I like looked at her and she like I don't know this lady. I mean, she was an older woman, and she goes, "The president was shot." And it was like that dramatic. And she just like had her head down and was crying. I didn't know really much. I was 11 years old and I just walked it. No, I wasn't even 11 yet. I was 10. And I just walked, by the way, how different is that? I was walking to school by myself at age 10. Kids don't do that anymore. But yeah, so it was kind of traumatic even for a little kid that in school.
It was.
So those were what happened today in history. But what we're really here for is Holy Week and to discuss everything that Abigail knows. And I've actually found some unique details later. And then we're going to kind of talk about, we're going to go into like what we do, some, our family history, things that we've done and stuff like that. So, Abigail, take it away. Tell us about it.
Okay, Arden. Like you said, it is Holy Week. It got kicked off last Sunday with Palm Sunday, and I hope you listened to last week's podcast because we went into that in great detail. But as Holy Week goes forward, it really begins with the betrayal on Holy Wednesday, also called Spy Wednesday in some religious facets. But basically, it was the bargain of Judas, who essentially didn't, what's the word, Arden?
That he made to uh oh my goodness, this is bad. Where he actually did he go directly to Pontius Pilate?
I'm not sure, but he betrayed
He betrayed
Jesus.
Jesus,
That's
yes.
what I was trying to say. I'm sorry. And then, of course, Thursday, Holy Thursday, was the Last Supper.
And most people don't even realize that. They think the Last Supper was on Good Friday, but it was actually the day before.
Right, because Good Friday was the crucifixion, the passion of Jesus, basically. And essentially, that leads into Holy Saturday, which is today. And essentially, it was Christ's his rest in death and descent into hell, also called the harrowing of hell, in that he was in the tomb after his death from the crucifixion, and he resurrected the next day, which of course will be tomorrow on Easter Sunday. But overall, on Holy Saturday was when he descended into the underworld. Did you know that,
I
Arden?
I actually did. And one of the amazing thing was, so one of the things he went to hell because so many people were in purgatory. Because you had, think about this, prior to Jesus, all like the Greeks, the Ottomans, people from all over the world, the ancient Egyptians, they didn't go to heaven. They were all in purgatory until Jesus went to hell. So it's a time you just you don't really think about it. So all those souls went to heaven uh, at that point in time. So he didn't just die for our sins. He died for the sins of all of those who came before us.
And that's part of a prayer in the Christian Catholic Mass.
That well, as someone who's not Catholic, I just learned something during the podcast right off the bat. That's pretty
Well, and there's
impressive.
also, a prayer called the Apostles' Creed. And again, that prayer is essentially about his descension into the underworld.
That's pretty cool.
But tomorrow is Easter Sunday, and he will be resurrected, and it's basically the happiest day of the Christian faith.
It's just, I mean, when you're a kid, all you're thinking about is, bunny rabbits and oh man, I gotta go to church. But but growing up, I actually went to a Catholic college, believe it or not, even though I wasn't Catholic. And you know, I actually went to a couple Passover Seder's there, and went and actually learned a lot. And it was I never really like bragged about it back then, but I actually found it fascinating to learn the history and just a unique offshoot. Did you know that the Bible is actually taught at West Point and all military academies?
I did not.
Yeah, because it's also like a military book as well, and they tell about history and everything, and you learn about people's mindsets and trying to win the hearts of people. So it is fascinating that the Bible actually does that.
That is interesting.
Yeah. So Do we have any more facts about it? Because I had some unique ones.
Yeah, I think you had a couple.
I did. So this I actually just found out. There's in Latin America, they do a lot of things differently, as we all know. But one of the things they do is it's called Semana, and gosh, I hope I pronounced that right, Santa. Now, not Santa, Santa. It's spelled exactly the same. Where you're not allowed to eat red meat for all of Holy Week because you might turn into a fish.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I've never I had a cheeseburger the other day, but I did not know this, so I think I might turn into a fish. So if I start swimming around and have some scales, that's why.
Well, Arden, I think instead of a fish, I think you would be a big shark.
Nice. Or well, I kind of look like a whale lately, but that's not a fish. That's another mammal. But another thing, so I learned, and you were telling me about something that you did for this, about visiting 7 churches in all of Holy Week.
I did. I was a child and at 13 years of age and was going to have some serious surgery. So my father and I participated in going to 7 different churches.
And I'm assuming it worked because you're doing pretty damn well right now.
I'm still here.
Also in Bolivia, they don't they are a big horse culture in Bolivia. So they don't have the Easter bunny, they have the Easter horse.
Really?
And the Easter horse, they have horse races, they have all these shows, parades with horses, and that actually is how their Easter is encompassed with horses. So they'll actually ride horses to it as well. Another one that I saw in El Salvador. This was actually fascinating, where um, people would dress up as demons. They would all wear red, and they would ask people to be volunteer to come out, and they would whip them. Now, not with a normal type whip, kind of like a belt. And so they would get people who are visiting and some of the locals who want to give up their sins, and they're smacking them. I was watching videos of this. Like this one girl thought she was like all cool. She was dancing. They hit her so many times with the belt, and you're like, oh my God. And then like she realizes, oh, they're serious. So it was to get rid of the evil in people.
That sounds pretty harsh, Arden.
Yeah. So and then the last one I saw, there is churches where the priests dress all in black, and that's to signify evil. And then the head of the church will come out also in black and have a black flag with a red cross. The red cross is to associate with Jesus's blood. And he would wipe the flag over all the other priests who are lying on the floor. They're lying on the floor, and they were pretending that all of their evil is now being taken away. And one by one, they would get up and walk away and go behind a curtain and come back wearing white robes.
So they didn't rip him off like a stripper.
No, or like Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go Hulk Hogan in church. That I think would be a little bit better. So that's what I found out about Easter. Now, for yourself and your family, like, did you guys do anything fun? Was there anything unique?
All
Oh,
right.
she's
So
laughing. That's getting
I was
scary.
talking to my sister earlier today, and we remembered that when we were younger, my dad liked to make carrot cake for the neighbors.
Does carrot cake have carrots in it?
A little bit, yes.
Okay.
So, but what really made my dad's recipe special was the icing. So, me and my sister, we don't remember how old we were, but we were given the task to take the cakes to each of the neighbors.
Okay.
So, we successfully delivered them until the last one. We're walking up the hill from my dad's house, and we dropped the carrot cake. And it had snowed. So there was snow and gravel mixed into the top of the carrot cake. We didn't know what to do, but we were like, we've got to deliver this cake or Dad's really gonna get mad. So we actually took it back into the house. He had a little icing left over. So we tried to pick out every piece of gravel we could. And then we re-iced it and essentially went up to the Quackenbush's house.
Oh, the Quackenbushes.
And we knocked and we said, "Hi, this is from our dad. Happy Easter." And meanwhile, we know that there's gravel in that icing.
It's a little crunchy.
And we laugh to this day. I mean, what were we thinking? We should have just told him, "Sorry, my dad ran out of cakes this year." But literally, I'll never forget it. It dropped upside down into the snow that contained gravel. And instead of just telling my dad, "I'm sorry, we dropped it," we tried to get away with it. But let's face it, those people probably bit into it and broke one of their teeth. And they probably thought we were trying to kill them.
They hated you. The Quackenbushes came after you.
So, we're on another podcast. I've got many, many, many stories of me and my sidekick's big sister because they're pretty hysterical. And but this was just one that we thought about today. But on another show, I'm going to tell you several different stories about how zany little kids can be.
With the Quackenbushes.
With the Quackenbushes.
Well, I have a couple stories, but before I did that, I wanted to share something that one of our fans sent me. One of my fans actually sent me, hold on, let me bring up her name. It's called, she's Back in Time. This was on Twitter, Back in Time West London. So at Back in Time West London. I'm assuming she's one of our English fans because we had a new record of English fans listening to us last week,
which is really cool.
Yes, so we have two two English fans. I don't know if this is one of them, but she sent me a whole picture of it, and I'm showing it to Abigail for the first time. It's back in about 100 years ago. Cards used to be given, like Easter cards, and they're eggs that are cracked with women coming out of them.
And they don't look like they're closed very much.
No, so it's kind of fascinating. But when you open the article, they actually go into other pictures around the world. Around Europe, and they like the women are carrying like giant Easter eggs in front of them, like they're giving birth. They're holding the eggs like they're babies. It's pretty fascinating. So feel free, if you're on Twitter, check her out. Back in Time West London, because she's got some interesting posts about the history of England back then. And now I actually wanted to tell a couple stories, but before that, I wanted to go into a little bit of history, which I also found interesting about Easter. So the Easter bunny is a sign of rebirth.
Okay.
Because we all know how bunnies give, and we now have a little Easter bunny in front of us, where and the egg is the symbol of birth as well. So the Easter bunny, believe it or not, started in around the 1700s, was in America, but it went back to Germany a couple hundred years before.
Germany again?
Germany again. So it's like Germany gave us Santa Claus and the Easter bunny.
Wow.
Who gave us the Tooth Fairy?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Probably Hershey or someone else. But yeah, so I thought that was pretty fascinating. That so people have been coloring Easter eggs for a very, very long time, hundreds of years. Now, my brother, he kind of took coloring Easter eggs to a whole different extreme. Did you use the little tablet coloring with the vinegar?
Of course, with the little
Metal
gold hand metal
thingy?
thing to hold the egg. Of course I did.
Okay, probably Paz, right? That's the most famous Paz?
Of course.
Okay, so my brother decided he wanted to see what happens if you take an egg and put it in each color for an hour. So he kept putting it in, first the green, then the blue, then the yellow, then blah, 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 and back again and again and again for an hour. It actually turned this ugly ass brown. I mean, it was gross. But that wasn't the crazy part. We had our annual, Easter egg hunt in the house. Someone, probably my dad, after my dad probably was joking, took the brown egg and hid it under, now I'm we're talking 1970s here. My mom and dad had these orange chairs, orange and brown, ugly chairs, because those were the colors in the 70s, and they rolled. So they put the brown egg under it, and it kind of matched the carpet. We never found the brown egg that year.
Are you
Yeah,
serious?
and my mom even she actually told the story to Abigail tonight, where that every time you rolled the chair, the egg rolled with it. We found it. I don't know how, but eventually we moved that chair or picked it up, and there was the egg over a year later.
Oh,
It didn't smell because it wasn't cracked, but I think my sister cracked it. Oh my Lord. That was the stinkiest stink I had smelled up to years later that's another gross story. I had one of my jobs in college, but it was disgusting how bad that smelled. But that was a nasty Easter egg story, but I got one more for you.
okay.
And so my brother, I my brother Odie and I were always being total goofs. And my mom used to make Jello eggs. Did you ever have a Jello egg?
No.
Okay. It is the size of a normal egg made out of Jello. And my brother and I are sitting on the couch, and and I said, "Hey, could you like?" And he put a Jello egg in. I put a Jello egg in my mouth, and he's like, "Ha ha ha! You can fit a whole Jello egg." I said, "Here, you try it." He puts the Jello egg in his mouth. I'm like, "Hey, dude, try to shoot it out of your mouth and try to catch it with your in your mouth again." And my brother, it was like a game-winning shot of the NCAA tournament. He literally spits this big ass egg out of his mouth while lying on a couch, and it falls right back in his mouth. He got up and cheered, and we high fived. And I think it was his wife at the time, just looked at him and looked at me and was like, they are idiots. But it was so funny. Like, here we are, two grown men, and it was like the greatest triumph ever. Like it was like, how did he do that? How did he win that? But yeah, my brother, if the man who could actually spit a Jello Easter egg out and have it land right back in his mouth.
I'm telling you, Arden, we're gonna have to devote a show, about you and your brother and sister, and then me with my brother and sisters, and it's gonna be pretty funny. I have a feeling.
So, so enough about Easter.
Well, other than both Arden and I want to wish everybody a happy Easter.
Yes, and Passover soon. So we got Passover, Easter. We just had St. Patrick's Day. It's a lot of holidays.
Yeah, but for me, with no time off.
Yeah, we also had Ramadan.
Yes.
So we had all the holy days. They're all going on, and don't know. We getting a little exhausting eating. Never. So sports. There was a lot of sports activity. But before Abigail goes into all of the research she's done, UFL started today. And talking about my brother spitting out a thing and going bonkers, the second game of the football game, this was amazing. You have to check out this video of it. The kicker for the Michigan Panthers. They're down by one. They bring out the kicker to kick a 64-yard field goal, and he makes it. Win the game. The crowd's going crazy. But there's a backstory. He had not kicked or even attempted to kick a field goal since high school. He went to college and was all he did was a special teams kickoffs. That's all he did. And then stopped playing football and played soccer. So he has never kicked a field goal in either college or any other thing since high school.
That is very remarkable.
And then first kick, boom, 64 yards. Oh, they also iced him, when they call timeout.
Mm-hmm.
So he kicks that one, the first one, right through the uprights. Then he has to do it again. So he kicked back-to-back 64-yard field goals.
Wow, what an exciting finish. That's
Yeah.
great for the first weekend of the UFL.
And we will be watching it tomorrow. Well, actually, sadly, Abigail might have to sneak out and watch it. Tomorrow, 12 p.m., our DC Defenders. First game, we're excited by that, are taking on the Brahma Bulls, which, by the way, real quick, because my brother did not know what a Brahma Bull is, it's an actual real bull, but that's The Rock, the professional wrestler. That's his nickname. So he actually made one of his teams the Brahma Bulls. Pretty little arrogant there. Anyway, tell us about sports.
Well, I don't have too much. Obviously, I'm paying more close attention to the NCAA tournament. On the women's side, again, I think Arden's a little sexist when it comes to women's sports. I will reiterate that Caitlin Clark is one of the greatest players I've ever watched as far as women goes.
And they won the last
They
game?
won today, very handedly. She was amazing. She didn't hit that many three-pointers, but boy, she knows how to throw some assists. So that was the Sweet 16 today. So now they go to the Elite Eight. And who are they going to play, Arden? Do you know?
I have no idea.
They're going to play the evil LSU team.
Wow.
That's who they played in the final championship last year, and they lost.
Oh.
But this year, I've got a feeling that they're going to win.
A little redemption possible.
A little redemption.
Wow. An actual rivalry.
Absolutely. And, there's going to be a hit piece for the coach of LSU, published by the Washington Post real soon. Apparently, she's done some shady stuff, I'll say it that way.
Dealings.
Yes. So
you almost said shady shit.
I almost did.
You almost did.
But I'm looking forward to seeing that article, even though it is coming from the Washington Post. But on the men's side, my poor brother and his UNC Tar Heels, it ended in heartbreak for them. And I'm not sure 100% because I didn't really get to watch much this week. I think Duke's still in it, and that's my team.
Wow. And
do you know?
Duke is still. I actually saw that right before we went online, and they're playing NC State. So that's pretty. They're both ACC schools, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. So they're both playing to go to the Final Four. And NC State, did they beat Duke in the championship of the NCAA? Who did they beat?
Yes, they
so look at that. Well, they just in the ACC championship they beat Duke, and now they get to play them again. Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited. I really do like the college basketball championships. So Wayne, you touched about. I'm sorry.
Oh, nothing. I actually I looked down at my sheet and saw that there was something I didn't mention about Easter, but I'll do that at the end.
Okay. So you've covered UFL. Hockey season is wrapping up. How do you feel about that?
I am ecstatic. So today the Rangers won, and Jonathan Quick was in goal, and because of the win, he is now the all-time winningest goaltender by American players. So he now is I wouldn't say he's the greatest American goalie ever, but he definitely won the goal. So he's now number one for a while. It's just the Rangers are starting to run away with it, which is both good and bad. And the Capitals still have a chance. They're trying to make it, but it's been an amazing year. Everyone's just fighting for the last place, and you can see how tough these guys are. Great example: Ryan Lindgren of the Rangers. A week ago, he's carried off the ice, and he's playing again today. Like, these are the toughest guys in sports. A guy in baseball has a hangnail. He's out for a week. Basketball players are crying. They're out for a month. I mean, football players are football players. They're just in a whole other world. But these hockey players are ridiculous. Yes.
Well, I'm happy for you, Arden. I know you're a Rangers fan, so I'm a Caps fan, but, Rangers are probably going to go all the way, and I wish you the best.
It would be nice to see 2 Stanley Cups in my 54 years, because that's a very scary number for Ranger fans, because they went 54 years without winning a championship. So if they could win 2 in my lifetime, hey, that's pretty damn good.
So while the NHL is wrapping up, what's ramping up, right?
Baseball.
Opening day was when?
Opening day, actually, opening day was 2 weeks ago in Seoul, Korea.
We don't count that, though.
But the real season began this week. And it was actually pretty good. There's a couple of new things that I like. There's the umpire cam, which is pretty fascinating. It's only on Fox Sports, where they actually will show the pitch as the umpire sees it.
So is the camera on his face mask?
Yes.
Wow.
And it's I love it because you can really see, because how many times do you watch TV and be like, how did he swing at that? I mean, it's in real time and they're showing the play live. So it's amazing when the batter swings and hits it, you're just whoa. No wonder I didn't get past like high school baseball.
I wonder why it took them this long to do that.
Well, they've done it on like the catcher, and I don't know, maybe it was too heavy, maybe they just didn't have the right technology, or they would do it like they would tape it and then show it like a few seconds later, if that made sense.
Mm-hmm.
But never live. Like
Oh.
it was so cool. I mean, the one thing I could think of is that like maybe they're worried about people stealing signs or something, because that was another thing. Because sign stealing, especially after the Astros scandal, like it got a little crazy. Because back in the old days, like you weren't even allowed to sit in the bleachers. One of the most famous, like old Yankee Stadium, there was the black of the bleachers,
Mm-hmm.
but people used to sit in there and you couldn't see the ball, or they were stealing signs and they were somehow relaying them to the fan. Maybe that was it. I don't know. I'm just rambling at that point.
Well, what's good about us is we both like the Yankees.
We do.
And baseball's a long season, but
6 months.
I'm hopeful we'll go. We'll be able to go catch a game.
So do I. Now, we're pretty much almost at the end of our show. And the one little other thing that I did read about, and I feel about Easter, which was absolutely one of the most fascinating things I saw, that there was for Passover, there was a tradition that there was a pardon every year.
Right.
And Pontius Pilate continued the pardon, and they asked the people who they would like to see pardoned. And this is after Jesus was arrested.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually chose Barabbas, who was a criminal, and they asked for him, and Pontius Pilate did not understand it because he actually had tried earlier to have Jesus go to other provinces because he did not want to execute Jesus, which was pretty fast. He thought Jesus was innocent, and for some reason he was unable to. No one wanted to take it, and the people actually said no.
Yeah, I mean the main thing about Holy Week is turn a different corner and you never know how the world would have become.
Yeah, exactly. So just fascinating, and I mean, I'm a movie nerd, so you have all these movies. I'm actually, in fact, I'm recording the Ten Commandments right now. Believe it or not, the original Charlton Heston.
Wonderful movie.
Yeah, so I watch all of them because even back then you still get a little sense of what was going on in that time. So let's see, what else do we got? We got anything going on next week that we can talk about at the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head, but I do know we're going to devote podcast to crazy stories from our childhood.
I like it. I like it a lot. So for Abigail, this is Arden. If you feel free, reach out to us. We are crotchety old men. I know we're going to be changing that too.
And a woman.
No, but it's we are crotchety old men at gmail.com. We are crotchety old men at gmail.com. Jerome did email us. Man, I'm forgetting everything. Jerome actually did email us, and he did actually say, "Go Defenders." I just want to point that out. So with that, thank you so much, and we're going to go back to Stephen. It's Steve and Seagulls, my new favorite band. From the bar, forever trusting